This is a little pattern that I've been working on recently, and I wanted to share it with you. I'm calling it the Gray Moose. Now, I'm going to start with some UTC 70 denier black thread. I'm going to start this in just a little bit behind the hook eye. We're going to lay a good base down all the way across. Great. This is just our first layer of thread. We need to do a little bit of tailing material. This is moose body hair. We're only going to take a few strands, just enough to make a tail. Pull out the bottom, soft little shorts there. And then I'm going to use a micro stacker. I like this better than a regular hair stacker because I'm only using a few fibers. A little quick stack gets the ends all in line. I'm going to make my tailings about the length of the hook shank. Transfer that over, and I'm just going to catch that in. You'll notice that the moose body hair doesn't splay out like deer hair does. It's not as hollow. So that enables us to get a really good bite on there without the thread causing the hair to spin out like deer hair would. I'm going to take this up just to my thread point, and I'm going to trim off my excess. That last little bit back and just trim it off. Okay. Now I'm going to lay down a really good body. The next material is moose mane, and you'll notice that the colors are variegated. I'm going to take one of the white ones and two of the brown ones. I'm going to try and get some that are all the same length. That way they're consistent in their thickness. Again, I'm going to remove any underbody hair there. We don't really need it. Now, these look like they're very thin, but on this size 14 hook, that's more than enough. Now, some people would want to get these at the exact same thickness. It's not necessary for this fly. Other flies, yes. I'm going to trim the ends just so that they're even and catch them in. Just getting those started and tying them down. Bring the body wraps just to the point area. and really lay down a good thread base. At this point, I want to touch the thread with a little bit of wax for the next step, and I'm going to do a little bit of wax on the thread body and just massage that in. Now, all three fibers at the same time, and I'm going to slowly, carefully, in laying wraps, ensure that the lighter colored hair is in the middle of the other two. Around they come. We're going to do touching wraps with that last fine little hair touching the other brown part. This will get us a nicely variegated body. I'm going to just tie that off. Pull back and trim off the excess. Now, at this point, I want to protect that body. I'm going to use just a little bit of Sally Hansen's on it. Brush that. I'm using a gray polypropylene yarn. This is in light gray. I'm going to snip a small amount off, not worrying too much about how long it is. And I'm going to catch this under my thread, fold it over, and bring it up. We'll trim that to length in a little bit. Some counter wrapping to get this yarn in the right place. Great, just a little bit. Then I'm going to post my various woolen materials. That was going to happen today. Nice, or you haven't figured it out. And on the Norvise, you want to use a plastic threader. Most of us use these little dental threaders. They're available at your local drugstore. You can buy them online through the fly tying shops and spend about $10 for them, or you can spend a couple bucks at your local pharmacy. Through, or again, I'm going to catch our thread in. Get a couple of wraps around that other piece of thread. And I'll trim that off here in just a second. Finish posting. Now I'm going to come around my posts and just pull them in with a couple of wraps around just to get that nice angle that I really want to get. There, that's better. Get rid of these little threads that are there. Put that my little broken thread there. Almost done. Thread back just a little bit to give me some room to apply some hackle. Now, the hackle on this is a whiting hackle, and it's appropriately sized, so a little bit bigger than the hook gap. When they trim off the bottom, just a little bit. Dark side forward. Oops, in that one. There, forward. Over just a little bit so I can trim it off. Some people say, well, why don't you use all the wonderful features of the Norvise? And that's true. I'm not necessarily using the Norvise other than just as a stationary vise for this fly. That's because not all of us have this wonderful vise or a rotary vise. So I wanted to show you using it stationary, as I do with most of my, about 5 or 6 turns of the saddle, and the amount of turns will depend on the actual feather you're using. One that's a little bit more sparse, you will turn it more times. If it's less sparse, then more dense, then you don't need to put as much. Bring my thread all the way to just by at the hook eye. And I use a whip finish tool for this, but you can use any whip finish tool you like, including your fingers, if that's what you like. But put a 3 or 4 turn whip finish there and pull your thread off. Bit of varnish right here on the front. This lovely little fly will imitate several different flies that we have in our local area. Notice I'm trimming this wing down fairly short here. I want the wings to be right at the end of the hackle, just barely. And you can puff it out there, and that makes all the difference in the world. So that's going to be my gray goose dragfly. Like it? Hit like, share, and spread the word. This is a great little fly.